Hi, are you thinking of adopting a cat or a dog and bringing them home soon? If so, here are my 5 top things not to forget before bringing them home. I'm Dr. Mireille Cardinal, and I'm a veterinarian, and I'm passionate about preventative care, and so I want to give you my tips about what to think about before bringing them home. Tip number 1 is feeding essentials. What do we want to feed these animals in? Ideally, we would want a bowl, both for the food and the water, that's of appropriate size for their head. A cat will be smaller, and a dog, it depends on the size of the dog. But you want the dog to be able to insert their head appropriately so that they can get to the bottom of the food bowl. In terms of the material of the bowl, ideally, we would want ceramic, metal, glass, and I would avoid plastics because sometimes that can cause skin irritation. I would place these food bowls on a mat so that it's non-slippery, as well as if when licking they splat some food around, it's easier to clean. I would put this food and water bowl away from the litter box if it's a cat, so that they're not eating and going to do their business in the same area. Another tip for where to choose is an area that doesn't have a lot of passage, so that's calmer, so that when they do go to eat and drink, they can feel comfortable. Point number 2 is litter and waste management. If you're adopting a cat, then you'll need a litter box. The litter box is usually a plastic tray in which we put litter. There are many different types of litters that you can buy at the pet food store. It's hard to choose. The ones that we would recommend typically are dust-free, fragrance-free. Although you might like a lavender smell, the cats and dogs have a very developed sense of smell. And so sometimes what appears to you as a nice fragrance is very intense for the animals and could sway them away from using the litter box. So fragrance-free, dust-free, and then ideally, easier for you, clumping. You want something that you can scoop up and then throw away in the trash. In terms of scooping up for the litter box, we would recommend doing it at least once a day. If you can do it more, great. Otherwise, once a day, and then cleaning the whole bin at least once a month as well. So that means removing all of the litter, cleaning the bin, and then replacing the litter. In terms of walking your dog and then picking up after them, you can get little doggy bags that you can even clip on the leash, and you would use the bags and then throw them in appropriate bins afterwards. Another option, if you want to train your dog on a pee-pee pad, you can get pee-pee pads and put them in specific areas in the house. Again, I would recommend farther away from the food bowl, and you can train your dog to use that instead of going outside if that's what you choose. My next point is comfort and containment. So it depends on how you want to train your dog in particular, in terms of whether or not you want to use a crate or not. If so, then when you're welcoming them home and when they're young especially, you can train them to enjoy spending time in their crate by giving treats or feeding them within their crates. Otherwise, you can just buy them a nice comfortable bedding. We want them to be able to lie down and to rest their elbows and knees and hips in a way that's comfortable for them, because they might be lying for a couple of hours at a time. And just like us, we like to have a nice rest. In terms of cats, cats usually like to perch. So if you want to consider buying a cat tree where they can perch and then look down and observe you from a height, they enjoy that and feel more comfortable. But you can otherwise just get a little mat, a comfortable mat where you can put it on their favorite furniture like the couch or a chair, so that it's not always full of hair. Another point is enrichment. So we want to play with them. We want them to get exercise, mental stimulation, and there's a lot you can do about that. For dogs, of course, you know about the balls. You can even have braided toys. There are toys where you can put food or treats inside that gets them more entertained for longer. I would avoid anything that's very hard. Sometimes the trick is if you hit it on your knee and it hurts, then that's way too hard. So I would avoid anything that's bones, very, very hard plastics, or wood. The reason for that is that if they chew through it, then they could break teeth and injure themselves. For cats also like entertainment. So you can get lasers to play around, you can get ribbons, little fake mice that you can throw around. You can even get wheels where it's like a treadmill and they can run on it. Sometimes it takes time for them to get used to it, but it's pretty impressive when you get them going. Another point is grooming supplies. For this, you would want nail clippers that are of appropriate size for your animal. So cat nail clippers tend to be about this big, and then depending on the size of the dog, you can get bigger and bigger nail clippers. Either your groomer or your vet can teach you how to do it, although there are resources online. In terms of brushes, if it's a cat, then you can get appropriate cat brushes. If it's a dog, then it depends a lot more on their type of fur. And then if they're shedding year-round or they're shedding at different points of the year, then maybe there are some brushes that are more appropriate than others. And then we're planning on teeth brushing. This is a new topic in the sense that we're really focusing on oral hygiene, and that tends to start when they're young, but it can also be introduced later on. So what you're going to need for that is some kind of doggy or cat friendly toothpaste, and then a toothbrush or a finger brush. And this your veterinarian can help you choose, as well as show you how to do it. But these are some essentials to think about before you welcome them home so that you have everything ready. When you bring them home, especially for cats, but for dogs as well, it can be very stressful. It's a whole new environment and it's a big change. So what you could do, if we're talking about cats, is you could identify a room that's quiet, clean, and there aren't many objects that they could potentially chew and swallow. So you want the litter box, you want the food, and you want the water, and some kind of comfortable bedding. And you would keep them in there for the first day or two and gently introduce them to other parts of the home. And eventually they'll be able to roam around the whole apartment or the whole home. In terms of introducing your new pet to already existing animals that you have in your care, you want to make it as enjoyable and positive as possible. So do it in a calm environment. Do it one step at a time, one pet at a time. You want to give treats. You want to give them enough space so that if they're a bit shy, they want to take a moment, they can, because you want them to bond over time. But we don't always know how it's going to go or how quickly it's going to happen. So you want to take it step by step and make it as enjoyable as possible. Those were my 5 top things not to forget before bringing them home. As bringing home an animal can be very fun, but it can also be a challenge. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about what to expect, but also which questions to ask when you go to your first vet visit. So follow along for the next videos. Thank you very much. Bye.